Oh, hi! What's up, folks? I feel like I never introduced myself in the beginning of each video, so hi! For those who are new here, my name is Tina, and obviously I love to talk about books. And today I'm talking about a mainstay in literature, and this is this weapon, Anna Karenina by Tolstoy. I feel, guys, like I'm gonna leave my brain today in this video. The title of this book is misleading because you would think that it is a book about Anna Karenina and adultery such as Madame Bovary. It feels weird to pronounce it in the English way, Madame Bovary by Flaubert. But you're all wrong, as I was. If you thought that this one was about Anna Karenina and Vronsky, you will be a bit disappointed by all the pages which content does not talk about them at all. And I'll explain why. There is 1000 pages. So there are long pages, not talking about them at all. Tolstoy in this classic depicts different places in Russia, countryside, St. Petersburg, and Moscow. Anna Karenina meets Vronsky, a young officer, and she finds herself consumed by passionate love. Etymologically, patient comes from the Latin patio, pesci, which signify suffer. Patient leads to suffering and dependence because it leads the subject to never be fully satisfied. Hence, passion is leading to fleeting happiness because it is lasting only as long as the desire is fulfilled. That's why Anna and Vronsky always misses something in their relation in this book, as you will see when I do the summary of each part. So Anna cheats on her husband, an older man, a senior civil servant who is distant, cold, even take little interest in their son, with this young officer, Count of Vronsky. This position, this story is not uncommon in her social circle, but the mistake she makes is that she abandons everything to go with Vronsky, including her husband, her social position, her social contacts, her son, whom she loves more than everything. Worse still, she seems intoxicated by the freedom she just discovered. She takes pleasure in disregarding everything, including the prohibitions of her husband. She will also be criticized for dragging Vronsky along with her, and in fact, he refuses to be promoted for her and even quit his job altogether eventually. You would think that is all, but no. A second plot runs parallel to that of Vronsky and Anna, that of Levin and Kitty. Levin is to be the double for the reader of Tolstoy. He is an owner of a farm, keen to improve the peasant's life. He's a humanist and cultured, and he asks himself a lot of existential questions about religion, moral, philosophy, and he is in search of the meaning of his life. So there is not only one, but two plot parallels with two different marriages. A family life that strives toward the ideal with Levin and Kitty, and an affair that is condemnable in a perverse and cynical society. Both Anna and Levin are sensitive beings and in search for freedom. Now I'll talk about the characters, and I've got pictures of them with their names so you can relate a little bit easier during the summary of the entire plot for later. You can also admire my skills at cutting paper, which I learned in middle grade, so please enjoy. So as I said, the first couple is Anna Karenina, Dievna Karenina and Alexei Alexandrovich Karenin. And Anna Karenina married. I'm taking a Russian accent. Anna Karenina married this older man whom she respects but never loved. And she is dedicating her life to be the most respectable wife and woman. She is so devoted and perfect and have a certain aura that all the society of Petersburg that she is frequenting are jealous of her, and her husband is a civil servant working for the government and dedicating all his time working, and everything is millimetered in his life. She's compassionate, she's beautiful, but also has a certain aura. Whereas he's strict, he doesn't deviate from his life. Everything is calculated to the millimeter. Sorry, I changed the pictures a bit. Next, there is the brother of Anna, who is Stepan Arkadyevich Oblonsky, known in the common name of Stiva in the book. They all have several names and it got me lost so many times, but it's okay. And his wife here, Daria Alexandrovna Obolonskaya, in the common name of Dolly. Okay, do you see well? So the novel opens with Stepan being ashamed of being caught in the sofa cheating on his wife with the French teachers of the children. He is a frivolous man. He entered the bureaucracy thanks to his brother-in-law, Karenin. He is always on the verge of ruin, but the household survives thanks to the properties of Dolly. Inconsistent and childish, Stepan is always seeking to shine in the society. Because of his talent for conversation, he is always a sought-after guest. Whereas Dolly is very pragmatic and very devoted to her children and the survival of her household. Then there is Kitty and Levin, with their full name Ekaterina Alexandrovna Sherbatskaya, known in the common name of Kitty, and Konstantin Dmitrich Levin. You know what I mean by the name? They're also difficult, but it's Russian, so I guess it was expected. Oh, and I forgot to put their son right here. So Kitty is the sister. If I had to define a main character in this novel, this would be Levin. Absolutely Levin. Tolstoy projected himself to Levin at the point that he gave him his name, because Lev Tolstoy, Levin. Like the writer, Levin has abandoned the two cycles of the two capitals, St. Petersburg and Moscow, at that time to retire to his countryland. Like the writer, Levin is filled with constant doubt, questioning, and terrible anxieties. There are several episodes of autobiographical inspiration, such as the death of his brother. So they are in love, even if the two of them are mostly married because of conventions. They are in love. They are in love, and they are in love too, even if he's cheating on her a lot of times. Levin grew up with the Shabatskys, and he's in love, in passionate love for Kitty. She's the love of his life. And obviously, Vronsky and Anna, this is a love that sweeps everything, a love that makes you abandon your social status that you've spent years building brick by brick. That short circuits reason. And this is Levin's brother. You have to get the context, the reasons, the criticism, why Tolstoy wanted to write this, and to understand that this is much more than a love story. For example, one of the key scenes when Levin decides to shatter all the conventions to swap his landlord's position and for that of a peasant, and for that of a peasant, in order to help the serf in the fields. This scene I found very, very, very long. By this scene, Levin finds the beauty of manual work and the benefits it has on the body and on the mind, how you can be free, has a particular importance because Tolstoy wanted the emancipation of the serf before it was abolished in 1862. And I didn't understand that at that time. I just had a character living in an existential crisis and having, I think, 100 pages talking about it. It was around 50 pages, but Anna Karenina is a critique of the ideal aristocracy of that time, locked in the convention of society, not facing reality. See depressions in love mistaken for tuberculosis, treating by doctors, couples who are publicly well matched when in privacy the cheating is legend. And the use of arguments of God and religion not to face reality. Anna, the character, is a representation of feminism at that time because she's quitting everything to go to live with Vronsky, which was impossible at that time, and she even lived before getting a divorce. She appears in society even though her situation is controverted, and even if the women are supporting her bravery and her courage, she's still not behaving as the society wants her to behave. Like I've explained to you, there are 4 couples, 7 characters, plus several secondary characters, so this is a huge novel. And like War and Peace, this is supposed to be a philosophical and social novel. It aims to show how the aristocracy lives, and what better way to be described by a member of it, Tolstoy. Now, what about the writing style? And Tolstoy is known for his realism, for how he can deeply describe the lives of characters with realism. And his way of writing is fluid and natural. Everything fits in order naturally when others would have taken a lot of words to express a simple idea. Tolstoy is mastering it. There is a sentence, for example, Stepan Arkadyevich picked up his hat, stopped for a moment, thinking and wondering if he had forgotten anything. In fact, he had forgotten nothing except what he wanted to forget, his wife. There is another quote to show that Tolstoy knows to write the essential in a few words. The Countess used to write 2 or 3 notes a day to Alexei Alexandrovich. She liked this way of communicating, which was both elegant and mysterious, qualities that were lacking in their usual relationship. Everything is said. He allows readers to project so easily into the characters, to know their hidden truth, their expectations. There is no embellishments, very desire to say everything in its entirety. Now, about the pacing of this book and my reading experience. This is beautifully written. Tolstoy is a genius, but this is way too long for what he wanted to promote, at least in my opinion, because I went into this book, I started reading, knowing nothing about it, just heard another YouTuber said that this was one of the most beautiful love stories she read in her life. And I didn't get into it knowing about the critique of the social life in Russia at that time. So that's why I struggled a bit and I suffered a bit also because of all the names, all the different names a character can have, and that I've read it with breaks. So not everything was fresh in my mind. It was a path of doubts, of sufferings, boring moments, so I don't regret reading it. It just gave me now the envy to read War and Peace. Even though it is a huge book, but I know what to expect, so I think it will be easier than to finish this one. I gave this book 3 stars. It is still a 6 to 10, which is not bad, a 12 to 20, but this is not the most easy book I've read in classics, such as Jane Eyre, so that's why. But it's still a good rate, you know? Okay, now for the plot, for the entire plot summary. You'll have to take a tea or maybe a coffee or something to eat, because even though if you didn't want to read the entirety of the book and to see the plot here or to refresh your memory, it's still gonna be long, so prepare yourself. To begin, I have to read you the first sentence of the book because it is iconic and we like iconic here. So, all happy families are alike. Each unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Sorry, I have many notes. I'm chatting a bit because I'm not remembering everything in perfect detail. So. The novel opens with Stepan cheating, as I said, on Dolly with the French teachers of their children. And Dolly is questioning herself. She doesn't know if she can forgive Stepan for the cheating. Kitty, not in love for now with Levin, so we'll just remove the heart here and the heart here too. Kitty is waiting for the proposal of Vronsky because he's courting her for days, and that's the tradition, the custom at that times. And if you doesn't know the rules about it, just watch the Chronicles of Bridgerton. I recommend you to watch it because it is very good. She turns down the proposal of Levin because, as I said, he is madly in love with her, and he always was. And he's proposing to her in the part 1, but she's turning down her proposal because she's waiting for Vronsky to do his. He is an older man than her, and she has known him for her entire life because they were raised together, sort of, and she has no feelings for him, so boo. Is left alone. Then Stepan goes to the train to pick up Anna Karenina. Oh, Vronsky goes to the train station also to pick up his mother. And his mother and Anna Karenina happens to sit next to each other, so they are discussing. And what a surprise! Vronsky instantly fell in love with Anna as soon as she got out of the train. And morbidly, an employee is run over by the train, so he dies. Then everything soothes because Anna is talking to Dolly to soothe her a bit about the cheating of Stepan and convinces her to reconcile with him. But then a ball occurs in which Kitty dances with Vronsky all night. It is getting hot in here. Vronsky tries several times, I think, to talk to Anna, but she snubbed him. Until they dance the last dance together. This is the most important one. Kitty realizes that Vronsky is never gonna propose to her. After this Moscow thing, after this Moscow scenes, Anna returns to Petersburg and Vronsky follows her. How surprising! Levin returns to the country's life, obviously to get a bit of comfort because he's devastated. Part 2, we are living the Moscow society life for Petersburg, and Vronsky quotes Anna all the time. While Karenin is a bit disconnected and focused on social appearances, and even watch the two of them discuss privately at a party. Vronsky advances, eventually turns very physical. Meanwhile, Levin focuses on farming, a lot of farming. So much farming. He fixes broken things and he's preparing for spring. And comes the scene, the famous scene, that he's farming during 50 pages with the serf. Stepan, his old good friends, comes to visit and informs him that Kitty is still unmarried. Then Stepan wants to hunt because he likes to have a lot of fun, so there is long pages about hunts too. Society continues to judge Anna Vronsky. Now is announcing Vronsky that she is pregnant. Whoop whoop. Then the Karenin attends a horse race and Vronsky competes and falls. Anna, being worried, wants to ask him if he's hurt, but Karenin, Alexis, brushes her away. Anna decides to tell him everything about the affair and tells him that she hates him too. Hard on him. He replies that she has to continue acting as his wife until further action may be taken. He's threatening her. She, meanwhile, is in emotional distress because she has lost the purpose of her life, which was to marry to Vronsky. She needs to go to rest and she goes to a spa resort in Germany. She befriends a girl named Valenka. The brother of Levin arrived with a prostitute, not Levin, beware, at the spa, and she's disgusted by them. Part 3. Sergei, the half-brother of Levin, is visiting him, and they discuss farming. Again. Farming. Dolly has to move to the countryside because Stepan, how surprising, is spending all their money, so they are in a financial ruin, a financial crisis. Because meanwhile he's going to races and live as if he has not responsibilities. Levin visits Dolly to help her, and she advises him to propose to Kitty again. But what is funny is that what is pushing him to do it is that he's seeing a couple of peasants farming that he could love, someone he could farm with. Yes, his life is around farming. Then Karenin is trying to solve issues with Vronsky. He's asking himself if he can duel, turn to religion, or get a divorce. He doesn't know. He keeps moving on as if he's still married because he don't want them to be happy, and Vronsky only has not to come on the house, which is a bit weird. And he's saying this in a letter to Anna, and she's feeling shocked and guilty and trapped, obviously, because she's lost. She doesn't know if she thinks that he's generous or completely mad. Then Levin talks to locals about his distrust of foreign techniques, and he wants to create the opportunity of shared labors and lands, but doesn't really motivate them at first until it does. Nikolai, his brother, arrives and he mocks him a bit, saying to him that this is a bit of a weird communism. Part 4. Still, Anna and Vronsky can see each other, not in the house, and they're miserable because they cannot be free. to live their relationship as they want. I forgot to reboot the heart. And one day, he decides that he doesn't care about the rules of Karenin, so he comes to the house and he sees Karenin. So Karenin, what does he do? He demands divorce right away. He seeks a lawyer and he has taken this to the kids, but quickly realizes that the letters he has of their love isn't a proof that is enough for getting a divorce. Meanwhile, how surprisingly, Levin and Kitty reconcile and get engaged. Karenin went to Moscow and returns to Petersburg upon a request of Anna. He has received a letter that she's dying, and he returns home to find that Anna is giving life to the daughter of Vronsky. And on her bed of death, because she's sick after giving birth, he forgives her. He is full of compassion and promise that he won't get the divorce, because divorcing means that she's losing a child, because at that time when a woman divorced from her man, she lost her child. Vronsky, during the sickness of Anna, almost near to death, he tries to suicide with the revolver but fails. How can you fail to touch your heart? I don't know. He is a soldier also, but it's okay. Oblonsky, Stepan visits Karenin, and the divorce is on the table again. Vronsky decides to abandon his military post, and he rushes to Anna upon hearing the divorce news, breaks into their home with no care, and embraces her with a kiss to start their new life. Part 5 begins with the process of the marriage of Levin and Kitty, and Levin even goes to confession even though he is not religious before the marriage. And how rude he is seeing Kitty on their wedding day. A sin. Their marriage goes off without a hitch, and on the next month they learn how to live together with each other's moods and quarrels. I have to put a hurt now. Then Levin learns that his brother Nikolai is sick, dying, and he wants to visit him but doesn't want Kitty to go along with him, but she insists and he brings her along, and he sees her compassion and the care she gives to his brother. He's madly in love with her again because they were in a bit of a quarrel the next month of the marriage, is because obviously he's a farmer boy and she's a society girl, so they didn't get along quite well the next month of the marriage, but now he's back on the track again with her. Then she announces that she's pregnant, so everything goes well in the better world. Then Anna misses Seryoha, his son, and badly wants to see him, but Karenin prevents it because he has met and fall in love with contents. Lydia Ivanovna is religious as hell, and they invent a lie to Seryoha that her mother died, but he doesn't trust them and has the impression that he's seeing her everywhere. Anna manages to sneak in the house and sees her son, so she's full of love, and she realizes that she will never love her daughter as much as she loves Seryoha. Vronsky begins to feel a bit cold about the social whereabouts about the two of them, and she causes trouble at an event at the opera that forces them to leave. Part 6. This is a real party at Levin and Kitty's house because they are hosting the family of Dolly with Stepan, and even Varenka, the friend she met at the German spa, and the half-brother of Levin, Sergei. And Stepan arrives with a friend of him, Bezenska, and he's starting to flirt with Kitty. He starts to get jealous and doesn't know how to react. But after several attempts of flirting with Kitty, the switch is turned on his brain, and he throws Bezenska out the house. Yes, he did. Dolly, during this episode of the country house, decides to visit Anna and Vronsky on their country house. And there, she learns that Vronsky wants to solidify his union with Anna, but she refuses to get the divorce because it means that she's never seeing her boy again. And she confesses to Dolly that she doesn't want to get another child with Vronsky because she's afraid that he will never be attracted to her again. Also, she is taking little interest in her daughter and is even neglecting her because she starts to take morphine. Vronsky heads to Moscow for a nobility election, and this episode will be a critique of the aristocracy by Tolstoy also, because they are all drunk during this event and they are electing each other, and this is chaos in here. Elections take place at the last month of the pregnancy of Kitty, so Levin is there too, and he's the only one saying that this is bananas, even though he's part of the aristocracy too. Vronsky, during this, has to rush back to Anna because she sent a letter to him. Annie, their daughter, is being sick, but he learns that this is a farce and begins to feel trapped. Thus, Anna accepts to get the divorce and move to Moscow again. I'm starting to realize that this is just about back and forth to Petersburg, to Moscow, to the countryside, just to escape reality. Tolstoy is a genius. Too bad that he writes a lot about farming. Part 7. They are waiting for their baby to come. Levin is writing his book about farming again. After 600, 700 pages, he finally meets Anna, and he's charmed by her because obviously it's Anna Karenina, and he now has mixed feelings for her because he always thought that all that was happening was her fault, but now he's just understanding that she's searching, like him, for freedom and truth. Unfortunately, the beauty and the charms of Anna is not working on her relationship. That only worsened worsened. T is late for her pregnancy, but finally delivered the baby and everything went well, even if Levin was panicked during the labor. Stepan, as always, short on cash, goes to Karenin to seek some help and talks to Karenin to convince him to get divorce from Anna. It upsets him and Teryocha, and then Stepan returns to Petersburg. Vronsky wants to live his society life. He wants to go out, but Anna can't because she abandoned her family. And when she begins to be delirious, she thinks the world despises her. She accuses Vronsky of not being with her all the time, and he begins to feel trapped, and this is a negative spiral that begins for them because they will never be filled with satisfaction with each other's. And then, you're not ready. She walks on the train tracks and waits for the train to pass over her, and she dies. Yes, she dies. And worst of all, part 8. You would think that there would be a good transition to it, but no. Part 8 opens on Sergei publishing his books on theories of government, and it is a flop. Why do we care? We don't care about it. We want to see how Vronsky is devastated of Anna's death, but no. He's clearly upset, but we just see him committing to the war again. And Karenin, after hearing of Anna's death, take care of their daughter because obviously didn't get the divorce, so their daughter kept the name of Karenin. He doesn't even have his daughter. How sad. Meanwhile, the Levins are mostly happy. He goes through an existential crisis about religion and admits that he's already religious in some way. A storm happens and he knows that Kitty and the children are in the gardens, so he goes after them to save them, and he almost was hit by lightning, and this reinforces his faith. Sorry. Admits that we cannot understand everything, but that we have to place our trust in God, even though that we cannot know all the details. So the story leaves us with several questions, which are, first of all, the psychological problems of Anna Karenina. Was it because she lived apart from the world where her son lived, or because of her all-consuming love for Vronsky? Maybe a bit of both, who knows? Some see a moral of passionate love, because these two get well at the end. These two doesn't get well at all. But Tolstoy is not condemning Anna's way of life, on the contrary, because even though they seemed to live a life which is approved by the society, they seem to be not fully fulfilled. The second question is Anna Karenina a free woman or a slave to her passion? And I cannot answer the question after all this time, so if you have it, please tell me. That's why this novel is brilliant in a way, and that I don't regret reading it, because it shows the complexity of relationship, the consuming passion of love. Thank you guys for watching this video, for clicking, for seeing it until the end, and you can put an emojis related to farm on the comments if you watched it till the end. So I had so much fun making this video, so I hope that this year I will have the time to maybe read War and Peace or another huge classic like this, and document the journey by vlogging and then making a video like this one. So I hope that the form of the video pleased you. Don't hesitate to advise me on the comments, and thank you for clicking, thank you for watching till the end. Bye!